Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of our sculpting and mold making video series. I'm Laura from Lightning Cosplay, and last time I showed you how to sculpt this antler. And today I'm going to show you how to make a 2-part silicone mold. And of course, don't forget to check out my mold making book, where you can learn a lot more about clay, silicone and casting resin. I'll put the link to my shop in the video description. So then let's start!
Yes, I'm putting my sculpture into the freezer. This helps to make the clay super hard. First, I'm using clay to separate the first side of the mold. For this, I use water-based clay. The best thing on that is that you can work really fast with it and it's super soft. When you're separating your sculpture into 2 parts, you have to find the halfway point. Luckily, this is a very simple object, so finding the halfway point is pretty easy. I use a rubber tip tool to clean up the edge. These tools kind of flex a little bit. So they are great because you are not scratching the model. Use a soft brush and some water to smooth out the clay and clean up your sculpture. Always keep your brush clean. Next, you have to build walls to contain the silicone you're gonna pour in. I like to build my walls out of foam because they are flexible, which makes it easier to build curved walls. Just hot glue everything together. This is not the cleanest way to do it, but it's super fast and you save material. There are so many ways to build these walls. Some people like to use cardboard or woods or even Lego bricks. Next, you have to make little keys so that the front side of the silicone mold links up to the back side. Take the back side of this tool and dip it into water and just put it in the clay. Always keep the end of the tool wet, that keeps it from sticking. You can make the keys before you build your walls or afterwards. For the next steps, don't forget to put on some gloves. I'm using Mold Max 30 just because I already had these at home. You can use so many other types of silicone. I always use the products from Smooth On, so if you're curious about them, just check out their website. Before mixing your silicone, don't forget to check the mixing ratio. Now it's time to mix everything together. Yummy! Looks like bubblegum. Put the silicone in the vacuum chamber. That sucks all the air that I whipped in when I mix the silicone parts together. That prevents that you get any air bubbles in your silicone mold. When you put the vacuum on, the silicone rises up and then collapses. Then you know that it is completely vacuated. I know, a vacuum chamber is pretty expensive. There are some types of silicone that don't need to be evacuated, like the Moldstar series from Smooth On. Now pour in the silicone. I love this step, it is so satisfying. Just let it cure overnight. Next, you can take the walls off and try not to destroy them because you can use them for the other side. Now flip it over and carefully take the clay off. Make sure not to dislodge the horn from the silicone. It's time to clean up everything with some water. You can use a soft brush or a sponge. Just make sure not to destroy your sculpture. The rubber tip tool works great. Now you can reuse the walls you built before. Just glue them on with some hot glue. Before you pour in the other half of the silicone, you could use some spray release to prevent that the silicone sticks to itself. But I had the experience that you don't need this step for Mold Max 30. Mix up some silicone and pour it in. Again, take the walls off. And try to find a part where you can open the mold. Carefully open the silicone mold. take off your sculpture and ta-da! You're done! Look at those details! A two-part mold is not only for simple objects like these, even when you have a more detailed and larger piece, it is just the same process.
Yeah, and that is how you make a two-part silicone mold. You can use this technique for so many other projects, of course not just for horns. And if you want to learn how to make a super lightweight hollow cast, just check out our next video. Then see you next time. Bye bye!